Lake Erie oil spill.
New efforts to stop underage drinking. Hi, I'm John Modick.
My name is Abby Zeman, and this is Public Eye News. The Houghton Police Department is currently investigating a two-vehicle accident that occurred at Friday, 4 p.m. at the intersection of Razorback Drive and Memorial Road. Authorities say a 1999 Toyota 4Runner driver was a 73-year-old woman was traveling westbound across Memorial Road when it drove into the path of a vehicle driven by a Linden resident. The Toyota was struck and overturned, sending both the driver and the 74-year-old passenger to the UP Health System in Portage. No other injuries were reported, and the accident remains under investigation. Among several other felonies, a Hancock man has been charged with the death of his infant son. 27-year-old Benjamin Riley is accused of placing his child in an unsafe sleeping environment after allegedly providing him an alcoholic beverage on July 22nd of this year. Riley is being charged with 7 felony accounts in connection with infant death and recent burglary at Finlandia University, of which Riley is believed to be in connection with. Riley was charged with involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of child abuse, and breaking and entering with intent, among other felonies listed. Bond for Riley is set at $1.5 million.
Early this morning, Michigan State Senator Tom Casperson announced his plans to run for the U.S. House of Representatives. Over the next week, Casperson plans to visit numerous stops across the upper and lower peninsulas to discuss his intentions with voters. Prior to his election to the state Senate, Casperson worked for 27 years in his family's log trucking business, including 12 years as the owner and operator. Casperson is running to replace Congressman Dan Benishek, who announced his plans to retire last September. And a new campaign has been started to raise awareness of underage drinking in Delta County last Sunday. Stickers have been placed on all packages of alcohol with 12 or more containers. These stickers state that it is illegal to provide alcohol to minors, and in doing so, you could receive a $1,000 fine and up to 60 days in jail. President of Delta County Youth Advisory Committee, Ellie Lancour, stated, quote, "We've noticed that drinking is an issue in the area, so we try to prevent it as many ways as possible," end quote.
A Lorien woman is dead after a single vehicle crash at around 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Michigan State Police report this accident occurred on US 41 near Highway Location Road. Witnesses say a vehicle crossed the center line and struck a tree when it burst into flames. An off-duty firefighter and off-duty sheriff stopped to assist with a fire extinguisher. The 48-year-old woman driver was pronounced dead after being transported to Asperas, Keweenaw. The name of the victim is being currently withheld. However, drugs and alcohol are not considered a factor in the crash. Crews continue to respond and investigate a sunken barge in Lake Erie, and the U.S. Coast Guard continues to hold a 1,000-foot wide safety zone. The Coast Guard began an investigation in early October. Dive operations Wednesday found a pinhole-sized leak in one of the cargo tanks of the vessel. A sample of the substance was taken and have been sent for testing. Reports indicate that the results from the sample are typical of a light to medium refined oil that has degraded over time. The safety zone will remain closed to all traffic until further notice. And after the break, we'll have your national and international news. Stay tuned.
I'm Ryan Phillippe. In the film Flags of Our Fathers, I had the honor of portraying one of the men who helped raise the American flag over Iwo Jima in 1945. Now, I have the privilege of telling the rest of the story, one that is still unfolding 70 years later. Iwo Jima is the only battlefield in the world that sees former enemies return together. Please join me for Iwo Jima: From Combat to Comrades.
Watch Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Several University of Missouri student organizations, including the football team, had their demands met last Monday as University President Tim Wolf announced his resignation. This announcement comes after a heated controversy surrounding race relations at the school and a hunger strike by Jonathan Butler, a graduate student. Wolf's decision came after black football players threatened not to play or practice until the situation was rectified. After his resignation, Wolf stated, quote, "This is not the way change should come about. Change comes from listening, learning, caring, and conversation," end quote. And Dr. Ben Carson says he's being unfairly attacked by the mainstream media over stories he's used during his campaign, and he's not going to take it. But as Craig Boswell reports from Washington, Carson may come out ahead with some voters as a result.
Ben Carson is fighting back against the media, questioning his life story.
I simply cannot sit still and watch unfairness. I'm always going to call that out when I see it.
Carson says the media is treating him unfairly by looking into claims in his autobiography, Gifted Hands, that he stabbed another boy when he was a teen and was offered a full scholarship to West Point, even though he never applied.
As I said, it was offered. I didn't say I received it.
Carson says the vetting has intensified because he's risen in the polls and says other candidates don't have to go through this.
Is he kidding? A couple of days of being asked about something that you put in your books? I got to tell you, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy. He should answer the questions forthrightly and directly. If he does, the American people will accept it. If he doesn't, then he's got a problem.
But how much of a problem this is for Carson remains to be seen. At least temporarily, his attacks on the media for digging into his past are working out pretty well.
He's raised a lot of money off of this, and in battling back, he's showing those voters that he's a fighter. You know, one of the knocks against him was that he was kind of sleepy. Well, he's been taking these head on.
Dr. Carson tweeted out a thanks to the media, saying his campaign has raised $3.5 million this past week alone. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Recent changes in this year's Starbucks holiday season red cups have stirred up some trouble with critics who accuse the company of waging a war on Christmas. Starbucks claims to have removed the symbols of the season used in the past to welcome all seasonal beliefs. Joshua Feuerstein, a former pastor and self-proclaimed social media personality, did not agree with the company's decision. He posted a video to Facebook criticizing Starbucks for removing, quote, Christmas from their cups because they hate Jesus, end quote. Starbucks claims they meant for the cup to encourage customers to tell Christmas stories in their own way. Russian inspectors are examining security procedures at the airport in Egypt where a jetliner took off from last month before crashing and killing everyone on board. CBS's Alan Pizzi reports from Sharm el-Sheikh.
Intelligence sources told CBS News that after the plane crash, the U.S. intercepted chatter from ISIS members claiming they had an insider at Sharm el-Sheikh airport. Sources say it is looking more likely than not that ISIS used a bomb to bring down the Russian jetliner, killing 224 people. With the search for wreckage and bodies almost completed, Russian emergency workers held a memorial service at the crash site, laying roses on one of the plane's wings. A full analysis of the evidence they found will take time, and Russian investigators have asked the FBI for assistance. 14-year-old victim Alisa Vitalieva was buried over the weekend, mourned by her grandparents among many others. She was traveling with her mother Irina. Her body has not yet been identified. Russia has begun a monumental airlift to bring 79,000 of its citizens out of Egypt. But President Vladimir Putin won't let it go at that if ISIS is guilty, in the view of CBS News senior security contributor and former CIA deputy director Michael Morell.
I think Putin's reaction is going to be to go after ISIS in a very big way to show them the costs of doing this to his country.
Underscoring the bomb theory, workers at the airport say that they've been questioned by Egyptian security officers, and planes parked overnight on the tarmac had armed guards. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Sharm el-Sheikh.
And after the break, we'll have your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
Once again, innocent victims shot down.
We have been through this too many times.
In the Senate on gun
control. Legislation voted down.
They vote that way. The government's not supposed to tell you what to do.
Is off the table.
All the while, the gun lobby grows stronger.
A good guy with a gun.
Frontline takes you inside the politics and the power of the NRA.
It has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with freedom.
Tuesday evening at 10 on Public TV 13.
And welcome back to Public Eye News. My name's Dane Wormlinger with your local weather. As you can see behind me, we're experiencing absolutely gorgeous weather in the UP, but it's not going to last for long, so get out there while you can. Right now in Marquette, the weather's holding at about 59 degrees, with winds southwest at about 14 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure is holding at 30.08 inches. Tonight, you can expect some clear skies with a low of 37 degrees, and winds southwest at 10 miles per hour. And into tomorrow, you can expect partly cloudy skies with a high of 56 degrees and winds south-southwest at 5 miles per hour. It's sunny all across the UP. Right now in Sault Ste. Marie, it's 56 degrees. In Manistee, 51 degrees. Escanaba sitting at 53, and Menominee at 56. In Iron Mountain, it's 60 degrees. In Ironwood, it's 59 degrees. And up north in Houghton, it's 58. And back here in Marquette, it's 59 degrees. Let's take a look at your week ahead. On Wednesday, you can expect a high of 52 degrees and a low of 42 degrees with rainy skies. On Thursday, a high of 48 degrees, a low of 35 degrees and rainy skies. And on Friday, a high of 41 degrees, a low of 33 degrees and rainy skies. Well, Dan, the weather in Marquette's looking pretty good, but I heard the Packers aren't experiencing a sunny day.
Yeah, those showers that are coming up might be some Green Bay Packers fans' tears. Cam Newton was determined to protect the Carolina Panthers' house on Sunday at all costs. That meant the fifth-year quarterback tearing down a large Green Bay Packers banner before the game that was hanging over the inside wall of the stadium, and later taking down the Packers by throwing for 3 touchdowns and running for another in a 37-29 win. Newton threw for 297 yards as the Panthers took an important step towards securing home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs. Every other NFC team has at least 2 losses, including the Packers. Carolina led by 23 points in the fourth quarter before Aaron Rodgers rallied Green Bay and nearly gave the Packers a chance to extend the game into overtime. Rodgers threw for 369 yards and 4 touchdowns, but couldn't take advantage of an interception with 3:38 left in the game that gave the Packers the ball at the Carolina 22. This time, one went Nebraska's way, and now Michigan State's playoff hopes are in jeopardy. Tommy Armstrong ran for a short touchdown with 1:47 left to make it 38-33. After Michigan State went 3 and out, he led the drive that defines his career so far. Armstrong drove Nebraska 91 yards in the final minute, hitting Brandon Riley with a 30-yard touchdown pass that withstood a video review with 17 seconds left to hand the Spartans a devastating 39-38 loss on Saturday night. Starting in his own 9, Armstrong hit Jordan Westerkamp for passes of 28 and 33 yards. 2 plays later, he threw the winner to Riley, who had gone out of bounds and come back in to make the catch. Officials ruled it was legal because cornerback Jermaine Edmondson forced him out. And Jim Harbaugh refused to show mercy as Michigan was routing Rutgers, and he's not sorry. Jake Reddick threw for 2 touchdowns and a career-high 337 yards and ran for a score and an eyebrow-raising 2-point conversion to lead the Wolverines in a 49-16 win over the Scarlet Knights on Saturday. Why did Harbaugh go for 2 with a 25-point lead in the third quarter? The coach said, quote, "That's what the chart says to do, so he went with that, playing the percentages," end quote. The Wolverines were able to coast to an easy victory after wild finishes in their last 2 games. They beat Minnesota last week on a goal line stand and botched a punt to lose to Michigan State on the final play the previous game. Well, John, it's looking like, Jim Harbaugh might just be the change that Michigan needed. That's right. I hear we have a good friend writing about some special change of his own.
That's right. It's Bill Nye the Science Guy. A new book by the science guy, Bill Nye, is tackling the issue of climate change and how it will change the world. In the book, Nye states the science is clear and the warnings are dire. Man-made climate change is happening and will adversely affect human life. While political obstruction stalls education and action, Nye sees relentless human ingenuity as a reason to hope. The title of the book is Unstoppable: Harnessing Science to Change the World, and is available for purchase now. And TV game shows like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune aren't playing around when it comes to marketing Veterans Day. The shows, in cooperation with a Veterans Support Campaign, are using this week's episodes to honor those who have served. On Wheel of Fortune, all the contestants will be U.S. Army veterans. In addition, a series of PSAs will run during commercial breaks, honoring veterans. On Jeopardy, all of the categories will be veteran-related to spotlight those who have served and the sacrifices they have made.
And that's all the time we have for you today here at Public Eye News. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern